Hey everyone, Dr. Rob here. I want to take a moment to spotlight my sponsors, Professional Co-op, empowering clinicians with premium access to top-tier lab services at a fraction of the cost. Since 2001, Professional Co-op has redefined what efficient, patient-centered support should look like. No hidden fees, no minimums, and you only pay for completed tests. It's lab access made simple, transparent, and affordable. Trusted by licensed healthcare professionals across the country, Professional Co-op is your strategic partner in delivering high-quality care. Discover more at www.professionalco-op.com. A quick shout out to my other sponsor, Functional Medicine University, one of the top online programs for learning functional medicine. Founded by Dr. Ron Grisanti, FMU has trained thousands of healthcare professionals in over 50 states and over 68 countries. It's completely online, self-paced, and CE approved for a wide range of clinicians, MDs, DCs, NDs, PAs, and more. At the end of the program, you earn your certified functional medicine practitioner credential, something that's truly elevated my clinical approach. If you're ready to level up your practice with evidence-based root cause care, FMU is the place to start. Check them out at functionalmedicineuniversity.com. As a practitioner, I only use products I believe in, and Nutridyne is at the top of that list. What I love about Nutridyne is their unwavering commitment to quality, transparency, and science. Their products are practitioner exclusive, which means they're built specifically for clinical use. That matters when you're trying to get real results. From foundational support to condition-specific protocols, I've seen firsthand the difference Nutridyne makes in my patient's health and in my practice. Hey everybody, Dr. Rob Silverman here, Proven Health Alternatives. I am a former pro football player, entrepreneur. This guy's exciting, let me tell you. Mr. JJ Birden. JJ, what's going on, man?
Hey, Dr. Rob, it is good to be here. I'm excited to have a chance to chat with you and share with the audience.
Well, they're excited to have you. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of great feedback on your appearance. I mean, I was looking at your history now, and I remember watching you play on the TV, and you famously played in the AFC Championship game with the Kansas City Chiefs. Some unknown quarterback, Joe Montana, was there. I saw you as a pro football player. I know that you were a outstanding sprinter, Olympic level sprinter. You're now a fabulous entrepreneur. Tell everybody, how do you get those three things tied together? What's the thread? What's the commonality?
I think the thread goes back to my childhood. I was raised in Northeast Portland, Oregon, the hood, single parent mom, dropped out of high school when she was a junior, worked really hard, set a great example. But Dr. Rob, at a very young age, I wanted something different. I wanted to change my circumstance. So it was that why. That why was driving me at every phase of my life to create opportunities for my future family and do the things that I didn't get to do. And that was a motivating factor. So that's why, as you know more about me, it didn't matter how small I was or what people thought, I was going to figure out a way to get it done.
Well, you certainly did. I mean, you're listed at 5'10", 157 pounds. Now, that's the size of a second baseman in my era, not a NFL wide receiver. You were a walk-on at the University of Oregon. I mean, and my understanding is the only reason you went there was they would let you run track.
Mm-hmm.
How did you
Yeah.
overcome those physical limitations?
I think, I always believed in my abilities. Obviously I had the gift of athletic ability, but I always matched it with hard work and believe that, when you're a talented person, you put in the work, you can achieve something great. And having so many people doubt me at different phases, I always had that chip on my shoulder. I'll show you. I went to Oregon on a track scholarship, and my dream was really the Olympics. But because everyone said I was too small to play Division I, that's why I begged the coach to let me try out. And I was just trying to make the team. I wasn't trying to play in the NFL. But no, I think just that winning, that underdog mentality is just one of the things that's always pushed me through from level to level to level.
Resilience and mindset are apparent with you, without question. You got cut by four teams in 5 days?
Yes.
I mean, Did you ever hear of the word quit?
No. It was a crazy week, getting released by Cleveland on Sunday and then getting rejected by the Chiefs, the Lions, the Packers in a 5-day period. But I think it was just always knew I could play. I was still dealing with a knee injury and I wasn't 100%. And I had seen the competition, so I knew what I was up against. So it was just a matter of me getting 100% and then choosing the right team. And that's what kept me going because I knew I could make it. I just had to get healthy and get on the right team.
Now you caught, if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, 241 career passes.
I think that sounds right.
You played in an AFC championship game,
hmm
and you weren't offered a football scholarship in college.
Well, not Division One. It was the three Division Three and Division Two, and quite frankly, I just felt I was a D1 athlete, and so recruiting wise, I was a really good long jumper. I was one of the top jumpers in the nation in high school, so
Mm.
I knew I was getting a track scholarship. So every Division One school that was recruiting me, I'd say, "What do you think about me trying football?" And everyone said no, except for Oregon. Oregon said, "You come here and
Mm.
run the first year. You have our blessing to try to walk on the second year." And I just wanted the opportunity to get my foot in the door.
Now you got, as I said before, to play with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, one of the greatest football players ever, huge all-time athlete, a fav of mine, Joe Montana. So what's that like to get in a huddle with a guy who's known as Mr. Clutch?
Well, there's two reactions. One is there's a starstruck aspect. You're like, man, that's Joe Montana, So it took me a little time to get over that. And I'll tell you a quick story. The very first huddle, the very first practice, we call X hook. So Joe's first pass is coming to me, and I'm all excited. 12-yard hook turnaround, and he hit me in the back of the head with the ball. Now this is a route I've run 1,000 times, and he goes, "Come here, kid." He goes, "I don't wait for you to get open. I've already read the defense. I'm going to throw it to an area. You got to get your head around faster." And it was like, newsflash, you're playing with one of the greatest. And there's the
Wow.
reason why. So you better step up your game. And it really just lifted my performance playing with him.
Outstanding. So, got to ask you the question, who's the greatest guy that you played against on the other side of the pigskin?
Oh, definitely Deion Sanders.
Wow.
Definitely. Deion was just, I played against him twice, and as much film as I studied on him, as much as I was able to look at his tendencies, he was just still hard to beat because he was just so gifted physically, mentally, but yeah, by far. And I played against some great cornerbacks, Rod Woodson, Daryl Green,
Mm,
they were all good, but Deion was
fast.
the best.
Darryl Green's probably the fastest guy in the NFL ever, right?
Yeah, Daryl was fast.
I
He-
mean, you told me I'll disclose that you ran a 4.33 40-yard dash. That's still fast today.
Yeah, it is, but it's weird though when you're playing in a game and you know a guy like Daryl Green is faster than you and you can tell. It's like, oh my goodness, usually I'm faster than all the DBs, but you could clearly see he had some amazing speed.
Now you take a guy like Jerry Rice, maybe the greatest wide receiver ever, one of the greatest football players ever. And he ran, I think it was like a 4.6, which is sort of slow for a wide receiver,
Yeah.
but they made a claim that he was faster in the game than he was getting, faster in cleats than he was in track shoes.
Yeah, he was. He had great game speed. And I watched him many times play, beat guys that were running a 4.2, a 4.3, or 4.4. And some players are like that. They're not really good with the watch. You want to time them on the 40, but you get them in the game and they play at a whole different level.
So at some point, some of those measurements, a la Tom Brady, don't always correlate to success.
Exactly. They don't, because you can't really predict how a player is going to respond when the lights come on, when the pressure is there. You might think the 4.2 guy is going to outperform the 4.5 guy, but that doesn't always happen because there's all these other intangibles that play a role in your success at that level.
I went to a Magic Johnson seminar, and I'm a Magic fan. Larry, Magic, they saved the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I asked Magic about all that. I said, Larry was a little slow. He wasn't that muscular. He was 6'9". And he just looked at me and he said, they don't give you an EKG for your heart. And I believe that travels not just in sports, but through life.
Yeah.
So before I close your football chapter, would you let your sons play football?
I they did not play.
Mm,
And I didn't push them to play. I didn't want them to play. I just wanted to see if they were interested, and they weren't. So I didn't, so we didn't go that route. And I'm happy they didn't play, to be honest, but they don't have any regrets. You know, they
mm.
saw dad hurt. They saw me with ACL tears and ice in my body all the time. And I just don't think they wanted to play. And I was fine with that.
So now, I mean, you're in great shape. You're 60. You make no bones about it, no pun intended. You played pro football, so obviously you probably had some concussions. You had
Oh, yeah.
multiple injuries.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do in your daily routine to keep yourself so fit and healthy?
Well, I'm very active. It's part of my daily, I would say, my daily method of operation.
Mm,
I try to get free weights in 4 days a week. I mix in cardio. I don't do anything fast, anything explosive, because I can't really anymore. So it's all slow and consistent. But whether it's the Peloton bike, going on
mm,
an hour walk with my wife, I try to just stay consistent. And then I try to eat from a nutritional standpoint. I would say 80% of the time I eat very healthy.
mm.
But I like that 20% where I can just eat
I'm
whatever I
sure.
want, you know. So I just try to live a healthy lifestyle from day to day.
Beat the coverage. Your new brand lets people spot patterns and exploit opportunities. How did you develop that idea? And how are you bringing it to life through your website, your keynotes, and guys, get ready, second book.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. Yeah, so I've been speaking for 10 years now, and I have my first book. But after speaking for 10 years, I just felt that it was really time to take it to the next level. And I hired two market media to work with my website team to really start with, give me a hook. I need a hook. I need something that's me, that's my story, that's an authentic that I can teach from. And ironically, I was telling them the story about how when I would play Deion and I have to study his technique, and the CEO goes, "So you had to beat the coverage," and it was born. And I loved it because I
Wow.
think, yeah, even though as a wide receiver, my job was to, is it man or zone? Okay, where's the hole? How can I take advantage of it?
Right.
But also in life, I just think everybody faces coverage, and it's anything between you and your objective, or anything between you and your goal, and that could be anything. So we're about I guess 50% of the way done, but we're planning to launch the new brand in September, the new website, the new keynote, and then, like you said, working on book number two. So I'm excited about it because it's a unique message to me. I think in a very overcrowded motivational business, motivational speaking business.
I love the metaphor of beat the coverage. I think that's great. I concur. They hit the nail on the head, if you will. So my question is, what's that second book really about? Do you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the second book with the title, the whole thing is really to build on the framework. So I've come up with like 6 steps that make the framework of beat the coverage. And the book is pretty much going to revolve around that.
Great.
So will the keynote too. It's the 6 steps are, it's know the field, find the holes, play to your strengths, draw up your game plan, put in the reps, and then execute and adjust. So those 6 steps will be really much the framework of the keynote, as well as the book too.
So you're an entrepreneur in health and wellness. Tell me what's your most effective strategy for growth and what's the hardest lesson you've learned from all of that?
The most effective strategy for growth is leading by example. I mean, when you
Mm,
can be an
great answer.
ambassador of health, I mean, you already said it. You're like, hey, you're healthy, you work out. When people see that you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, they want to know what you're doing. What are you doing? You're 60 years old. You look like you still play. What are you doing? So that gives me opportunities to share with people, like try to figure out what their goal is, what solution they're looking for, and just share with them what's working for me. And I think that has been one of the best strategies in terms of helping other people by being an ambassador of health.
So we actually met today per se. We email back and forth. And I can say that we are interconnected in that You believe the same thing I do, that center candle can light all those other wicks. And you want to carry and be that center candle. And that's compelling. You're imbuing me with enthusiasm to work harder. And I thank you for that.
No, I thank you too. And when people go to my social media pages, I just want them to get something that they can use. They can find value, whether it's motivational, inspirational, some kind of success tip, whether it's health. I just want to be that beacon of encouragement and inspiration and setting the example too.
Let's do a rapid fire. I mean, you play fast, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you said Randy, you were everything that Randy Moss was at 5'9", 5'10", and he's 6'4". So what's something that most people don't know about you?
Ooh, that my legal name is LeJordan J. Birden. And my dad found the book in the library in a French book. It was Le Jardin, and then
Mm,
he changed it to Le Jordan. And my oldest brother could not pronounce it, and he started calling me JJ, and that's where JJ came from.
wow.
So when I tell people that, they go, "Are you from France?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
What was your highlight of your football career?
My first touchdown, because as you already touched on, just dealing with all the rejection that I dealt with and not giving up, and then getting cut by the Chiefs that third year, and then
Mm.
being brought back, and then playing in Seattle, my first game, and I scored a 33-yard touchdown. And Dr. Rob, that was kind of like that, yes, I finally made it. And that's why that ball sits over there in the corner of my office. That's the highlight of my career. Not quitting, not giving up, and finally making it.
What's the highlight of your career outside of football? Family aside, family aside.
Oh, family aside, because I was going to say being married to my wife 35 years.
Kudos on that.
Yeah, that is, man, that's a highlight for me. We just celebrated 2 weeks ago, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of, to be married to my college sweetheart
Wow.
35 years.
Amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
So what quote do you like to use a lot in your keynote speeches that really exemplify who you are?
I would say when opportunity knocks, you don't answer the door. You rip the door off the hinges and you make opportunity stay. That's a little something I made up, because that's basically what I did. I created the opportunity by walking on at Oregon. And then when they gave me the shot, I blast through that door and had no idea I'd play in the NFL. But that's what happens when you really maximize the opportunities, or rip the door off the hinges and you make that opportunity your own.
If you had to have one health ritual per day, what would it be?
One health ritual, one that I'm not already doing.
Well, I'm going to, no, one that you can be doing. What's the one thing, if you were to tell the listeners, that you need to do every day?
I got to get better sleep.
Mm.
That's the health ritual. I'm trying to get better sleep, because I can't survive off of 4 and 5 hours a day. I got to be at 7 or 8. That has been the
I
new
hear you.
goal I'm really working on, trying to have a better routine at bedtime and get to bed at the right time, because when I get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, I'm like a machine the next day.
What's the number one question people ask you?
What was it like to play with Joe Montana?
Oh my goodness. I would have never
It's
thought
not
about that.
touchdowns. It's what was it like to play with Joe Montana? That's a number one question people ask me.
If you were the commissioner of the NFL, if you can answer this, please, what would you do to have a declivity in the amount of concussions?
Well, they've done quite a few things, quite a few changes. I don't know. I mean, with what they've already done, there's not a lot they can do. It's a contact sport. Your job is to hit other people. And I think they've done a great job with, like, penalizing for the hits that we used to take from Ronnie Lott up top. I
Mm.
think they've done a better job of, like, when I had concussions when I played, you went to the side, they gave you some smelling salt, and you went back in. They've done a better job of the concussion protocol. Take your helmet, you're not playing, and you might miss a game or two. So I have to applaud the things that they've done. I don't know what more they can do, which they haven't already done.
What misconception about performance coaching, entrepreneurial coaching would you love people to drop?
They think it's easy for us because I was a professional athlete. I have a lot of the struggles as everybody else. It's not as easy as people think. I have my good days, I have my bad days, I have my days I don't feel like it. I still have the
Mm.
same challenges everyone else. So the habits that I teach about, I have to try my best to exude that discipline and that consistency and do these things when you don't really feel like it. So that's the thing. And I say that because there's so many people that say, "Oh, you're 60 years old and you're in amazing shape. It's so easy for you because you're a pro athlete." I'm like, no, it's not. That was like 35 years ago. So I would say that people just think it's easy for me, but it's no, it's I have the same challenges as everyone else.
That's right. It was 35 years ago, and you really let everybody know that you work hard. So if I were to open up your book, Beat the Coverage, and look inside, give me one thing that everybody can apply to their life today. So I've got my friend out in Switzerland, and I always refer to him, and he's like, Rob, whatever you do, no matter how deep you go, give me that one implementable takeaway. And he's written 4 books. So I'm sure he wants to hear what's that one thing? What's that tangible piece?
I would probably say every challenge has a crack in the coverage.
Mm.
Success goes to those who are prepared, spot the gap, and execute with purpose.
Outstanding. I love that. I love that. I can guarantee you that's going to be on my thread as a quote without question. How does preparing a keynote compare to like writing a book?
Yeah, that's a really good question because the keynote, you're looking at a 60-minute keynote. So, which I'm currently writing. So it's trying to still get the 6 points in, still get a powerful, engaging introduction, get a strong conclusion that makes him want to just run through the door, but also making sure each one of those points has a good story behind it and
Mhm.
has a clear action step. So
Absolutely.
it's just trying to condense, get it all there, but making sure that when you're telling the story that you make the point, you give them an action step. So it's just crafting all of that. The book obviously is going to be different because there's so much more room. And full transparency, my first book I wrote. The second book, I'm using a ghostwriter. I'm not going to write it this time. I'm using a ghostwriter.
I hear you. And the ghostwriter is not named AI. I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, keynoting and public speaking for the last 10 years, I'm going to ask you, I will concede. I remember making a 600 slide presentation for 12 hours, 6 hours on one day, 6 hours on the other. And day one, I was done the first time I went out there. How has the practice, the coaching, the preparation changed you to be able to reach the people to keep them engaged and motivated to want to grab that action step?
It's changed a lot. And I think of my very first keynote, a friend of mine worked for Merrill Lynch in Overland Park, Kansas. He said, "Come talk to my team." I had notes, note slides. I was all over the place. But from there, I grew as a speaker and I learned one is you don't need 60 slides. We could do it in 35 slides. And really just been able to teach and give people value, not just there to entertain, but really give them something that they can walk home with and put into action. And I think I've gotten better and better. And it really helps, as you know, when you do the prep call with the company and you find out what their needs are, what their challenges are. I've gotten better at, okay, let's tailor this a little bit so I can accommodate the needs of this company. And that's where I think I've gotten better. And we're still working on it. We're still improving, but I think I definitely have improved in the last 10 years.
AFC championship game or keynote? What made you more nervous?
AFC Championship game. The number one challenge of being a professional athlete, professional football player, was playing under constant pressure.
Mm.
It was constant. And I would see guys struggle with that. They couldn't push through that because you're constantly being scrutinized, you're constantly being evaluated, you're on film, and it's all the time. And that's where I think I had an advantage because I was used to proving people wrong. I was used
Mm.
to trying to work my way up where that pressure was like, okay, I've been here before. But I'll tell you though, there's nothing like the pressure in the AFC Championship game. There's nothing like it
Mm.
because every mistake is going to be on film for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
If you didn't play football, so I look at Derek Jeter, New York guy. I see Derek Jeter as Senator Jeter. I see Tom Brady. I mean, now he's a commentator. I see him as a commentator and an underwear model, if you will. Tim Duncan, some sort of kind of leader and stuff like that. Kobe Bryant, entrepreneur par excellence. What would you have done if football wasn't in the cards?
Well, first I'd have went back to track and field. I was a 26-foot too long jumper. I probably would have gone 27 plus. So I think I could have had a good track career. I always wanted to get into coaching. I did dabble a little bit in coaching, but to be honest, and I tell my wife this is I wish that I had knew back then what I know about speaking now and what about being an author, because I just always wanted to share. I always wanted to teach people. And I thought coaching was the way to do it, but in coaching, you only coach in this segment, in this
Right,
group,
right.
So I would hope that I had been introduced to becoming a speaker because like you, man, oh man, I just love it.
Hmm.
And I would have had probably a few more books than one by now.
Well, you're on that path. It's fabulous. Let me ask you a couple of questions about family and personal. You mentioned your wife, 35 years. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your family grew from 3 to 8 children. How'd that happen?
Well, back in 2007, my wife and I at the time, we had our three children, which was our game plan, three children. But I received a call from my nephew Justin in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there were some problems going on out there with my sister and my brother-in-law. So I flew out there, and then 24 hours later, I found out it was a lot worse. And 24 hours later after that, I was in a courthouse with the judge, and the judge said, you're the next of kin, Mr. Birden, and we're going to take your five nieces and nephews and place them in five separate foster homes. So what would you like to do? So you can only imagine that moment. Totally caught me off guard. But I always like to say this is what the game of football taught me. Sometimes in life, you got to call an audible. And I did what any smart husband would do first. I was like, Judge, let me call my wife first, okay?
Mm.
But it was a 5 minute conversation. My wife, Rain, and I said, let's take all five of the children and we merged them into our family. And overnight, we went from a family of five to a family of 10. And it was a valuable lesson on both sides. I think we impacted their lives, but they also impacted our lives
Wow.
too. And so, but they're all grown now. They're all out of the house. And, it wasn't easy, but I'm just glad we were able to make a difference.
Wow. That's compelling. A man of probity. Love it. So what's
Yeah.
next?
What's next? Well, September, I'm supposed to release my new website with the new brand, Beat the Coverage. I'll release my keynote then, and then I'll start working on my book. And then once I get that, I want to introduce my first Beat the Coverage coaching program
Mm.
on my website. So that's fourth in the line of my to-do list with this new brand.
Outstanding. Now, you don't do a lot of podcasts. I'm
What'd
lucky.
you
I mean,
say?
like, I'm really psyched. I mean, I was told, our common friend said, you don't really do a lot of podcasts. You're comfortable, you're articulate, you're flowing, you're conversational. You got to get that message out.
I know. I turned down a lot, but I that's what I shared with your team. I said, once I release this, I will start accepting a lot of the interviews. But you're the first one that gets to hear what's coming about Beat the Coverage. And so I'm
Well,
glad to be able to share that first with you and your audience.
I mean, you told us a little bit about your background. I get it. I had two parents. I grew up in a poorer section of the Bronx. Speaking to that 15-year-old right now, single parent who's deciding on which road on that, left or right side of the fork, what would you tell them?
I would tell him, believe in yourself, because I didn't believe in myself early. I didn't.
Mm.
I'd say believe in yourself, believe in what you're capable of, and whatever you can do, just grab every single mentor that comes your way and try to learn something from each one of those, because they will kind of shape your personality or maybe almost replace the father figure that you didn't have in your life. My white mom was amazing, but I didn't have that father figure. So it was like, what coach or what uncle or relative can I learn from? And that's what I would tell him. I said, just gravitate towards those mentors and learn as much as you can.
Was sports your way out?
Yes, it was. And quite frankly, my mom had married this guy who we found out had a drug habit, and it was really bad, but it sent my house in spirals. My older brother left and my sister. So sports was like, that was the avenue. That's how I'm getting out of this house. And that was that motivation to make a difference and getting that scholarship because I knew I wasn't going to get there any other way.
Compelling without question. How can people get in touch with you?
jjburden.com, that's my website. Plus, I am active all over social media. The username JJ Birden. I try to be consistent, and yeah, just reach out, say hello, and enjoy some of my content because it's very intentional. I'm trying to give you value every single time.
Fabulous. This has been quick. It was a blowout at the beginning. I mean, you just blew everybody away. No single double coverage. We got it on. Too bad Deion wasn't here to slow you down and spend more time with us, but it was great. I'm enthused. Thanks so much for your time, everybody. Proven Health Alternatives, special guest appearance, JJ Birden, Dr. Rob Silverman, always yours in health.